Hello, everybody. Welcome today to our Impact Talk. We are elated to have with us Mr. Chander Madan, who's the CEO and founder of eAge Edusolutions. And today we are going to go on a conversation with him to understand the kind of work that the organization does and the kind of journey that he has had. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir. So I'll dive right in with my first question. So that would be, what motivated you to work in the field of online capacity building and English learning programs in the first place?
Yeah, so I think I'd like to maybe share my personal story. So I had very, very humble beginnings. Initially, I think the primary education was done with Municipal Corporation School in Delhi, and then later on, I went on to complete my education through a combination of government schools and DAV schools. As luck would have it, we never wrote even a word of English till grade 6. I started learning ABC alphabets in grade 6. However, was lucky enough to land in corporate at the age of, very, very early age of 18. And when I landed there, my first company was an IIT, and everybody was speaking in English, and I didn't even know a word of English, E of English. And then went on to join Hewlett Packard, a multinational company that's into computers and printers. In both the organizations, I think it was very, very clear when I landed there that communication skills, particularly in English, when you're dealing with global citizens, is very, very important, and that's the only common language. For example, in Hewlett Packard, I happen to work in 3 or 4 countries: India, Hong Kong, and Singapore. And I just realized that I was dealing with Chinese, Russians, Australians, and all other diverse nationalities, and the only common language is English. So I was forced to learn English in an environment, not just the without any, not just the they weren't running in training programs, so there weren't any formal training program in English. But I learned the language by immersing in the environment where I had no choice to communicate with global citizens. And in my IT career of 23 years in the IT industry, I think it was very, very obvious that with good communication skills, one can really further ahead in the career. And the way I learned the language was by immersing in the environment. You can call it by force, but immersing in the environment. And that got me to start to think in English and eventually start to communicate in English in a decent manner. So that's why we chose English. I thought a lot of deserving youth of our country can get ahead by picking up this communication skills or improving the English communication skills in a way that gets them to think in the language and eventually become global professionals, if I may call it that way. So that's why we chose English. And one of the important things when I started eAge Tutor was that we wanted to make impact on scale. We didn't want to just learn a couple of training centers and then figure out that our reach is very, very limited. So we wanted to reach out to a number of people in multiple locations at scale, and we wanted to be in every village of India. Okay, and that's how I decided to use technology as a key enabler to reach out to even the remote corners of India. And in the early days, we developed a platform, virtual platform, way before Zoom was born. It was 10 years before Zoom was born, so we built a tech platform that enables interaction with a live trainer and a student like you and I are interacting right now. and teaches learners English communication skills in a immersive way. So we do raw role plays, group discussions, in a very pragmatic way to help people think in English, and eventually, hopefully, they'll start to speak in English as well to get ahead in the career. So that's how, the whole tech-enabled communication skills company was born. I'm proud to report that we have touched more than 1 million lives. We work with more than 5,000 plus trainers across the country. You pick a state, and we have a teacher from there. We have built a proprietary platform that works on even 2G and 3G speed in the remote villages of India. And we're very, very proud to associate with some of the large brands who have trusted us, and we are honored to work with them for over the last 4 to 5 years. Thank you.
Sir, many congratulations about, actually scaling up this much, because I also feel like, just like you were telling us the story of how you came about to founding this organization with this vision. I think I also, this is a problem, and I say it as a problem or a challenge, because even today, there are so many young people who are extremely skilled, but they might be a little few steps behind because of this fact that they are unable to communicate in English. So I feel like this work, just listening to you, makes me so happy, and many, many congratulations for doing the work that you're doing. So I'll jump right into my next question, which I'm also very, very curious to understand, is can you tell us about the kind of programs and initiatives that the organization holds to reach out to more and more young people, or more and more people, to make them learn English?
Sure. So I think a couple of things that we do. Our main focus is around spoken English skills, but we do it with a bit of a twist, in the sense that a lot of our programs are very, very focused around specific job and function. Okay. Just to give you a few examples. So we run a generic spoken English program for a homemaker who would like to speak with confidence in a parent-teacher meeting in a school, as an idea, or a youngster who is just getting out of the college, or studying in remote engineering colleges in Kharagpur, Kanpur, and various parts of the country. So there is a spoken English program focused around generic English skills. Then there are specific programs that we do for specific job and industries. So take an example of a nurse, in of course medical nurse, who is going to UK or Canada. Forget even our own country, right? They're going outside the country to find a job. And so we run healthcare specific communication skills program for those nurses. Okay. A, to get them better at interviews. B, what we do is we prepare them for IELTS and OET, which is the English proficiency specific programs for nurses, as an idea. So, and many of them get jobs. I'll speak more about this particular initiative a bit later. But so it's job and function specific programs. So be it if you're an accountant, if you're a nurse, if you're a technician, if you're a software developer, you need different lingo for various businesses or various jobs. And for example, an accountant would, or a finance person would love to know debit, credit, balance sheets, and things like that. Whereas a salesperson would like to know how to upsell, cross-sell, and how to build a relationship with a customer. And a nurse would like to probably know how to communicate with a Britisher or a Canadian or American in their own language from a patient care perspective. So we have various programs that are focused around specific job and functions. And I'm proud to say that it makes a big impact when you speak to an accountant or a nurse or a software developer in their own lingo, right? and they pick up the English language very, very well. See, for example, if you're for marketing and if you are taught about finance, you will get bored very, very easily. You're taught about balance sheets, etc. In English communication, you will probably switch off very, very immediately, very, very quickly. So our programs are tailored around not only just generic skills, communication skills, but also job, industry, and function-specific communication skills. And we do that with the help of more than 5,000 plus trainers that we have. Second, the way it works, a lot of brands like FMCG brands, to name a few, Hindustan Unilever, Colgate, Cibaca, they have trusted us to reach out to their potential, both potential and existing customers, and train them on spoken English, interview skills, and dressing skills as an idea. We have been working, so we have trained more than 5 to 6 lakh students just in 2 FMCG brands. Then we work with a lot of NGOs, right, who are, who support needy youth for improving their career potential. So we work with a couple of NGOs to start with for a number of years now. Foundation for Excellence, we've been serving for the last 6 years. So they are based out of Bangalore. And we have trained more than 5,000 to 6,000 students there, just on communication skills and interview skills. We have been training with SOS Children Village of India for the last 6-7 years. Reddington Foundation, we trained more than 3,000 people in 10 to 15 colleges of Kerala as an area, sitting just right in Delhi. Okay, our programs are, very, very pragmatic, specific focus on job and function skills, and aimed at improving the employability of the learner. In terms of reach out, we have partnerships with various corporates and NGOs. CSR Box has been a great platform for us to reach out to multiple organizations, CSR heads, NGOs. And recently we have also started to work in the healthcare industry, where we not only help learners get placed in India, but also internationally. And we are doing a fair bit of work there. Through this platform, I would love to, invite all the partners who have association with or who are associated with healthcare. We would be happy to work with them and collaborate with them and take it forward. But to answer your question, very pragmatic job and function specific programs aimed at improving employability. And there are various partnership models through which we reach out to these learners.
So that's wonderful to know, because you also spoke about multifaceted programs, because you started with how there is a specific program for homemakers who are parents and who want to go to the skill, gain the skill to go to the school and talk in English. Whereas you also talked about job readiness and this aspect of communicative English and using that to upskill yourself to get better jobs and perform better in jobs. So, sir, my next question is very related to this, and it's twofold. Firstly, you talked about the multifarious partnerships as well that you have with corporates, with different NGOs, etc. And I wanted to understand that how do you go about fostering this outreach in this area of partnerships, because we all know that in this sector, it's often difficult and tricky to also foster impactful and sustainable partnerships. So my first question would definitely be, how do you go about the outreach of doing this? And the second aspect would be more around the fact that how do you measure impact? Because there are so many different kinds of programs and catering to different sets of individuals and communities. So when you come to measuring impact, how do you do that as an organization?
Yeah, let me take the second one first. In terms of measuring impact, I think uh, my heart always fills with proud when I see our learners getting jobs, right? They come back and tell me, "Hey, I found a job in UK, Canada, or I'm going for study abroad, or I'm because I learned English now and I can communicate better." Um, I think the fundamental parameter or the topmost parameter is placement, right? Um, and if you're able to find a job because you can speak English, and let me tell you, uh, there's a well-published industry data that professionals who can speak English would earn 34% more than those who can't. Okay, there was a economic times study way back in 2015, and it's out there on the internet, so I think anybody can check that. So definitely, uh, you know, an English. So take an example, right? Even if you go to Chroma or any of the retail stores or Vijay Sales or any of the retail stores or even restaurant or food court for that matter, I think somebody who is speaking English appears to be more intelligent than those who can't. Okay, unfortunately, that's a reality, right? We like it or not. So for us, placements are the topmost criteria. I'm happy to report that those learners who are committed, and that's the key uh, disclaimer or key criteria. Those learners who are committed, uh, I think we end up seeing 70 to 80% getting jobs. Okay, um, if 80%, if not 80%, at least 60 to 70% keep end up getting jobs. To give you an example on healthcare, we train law of nurses on preparing for interview skills. They are great people. It's a very respectable profession in major Western world. And when we train them, 90% of them end up being on an interview table. Okay, and of that, 70% end up getting a job. Okay, not in rupees, but in pounds or in dollars. Okay. Uh, so to us, the impact is measured by have you gotten the placement or have you gotten the job or not? That's one. And two, for people who are not looking for job or whether they're looking for job or not, I think if you see an improvement in the proficiency level or the way you speak in English, I think that for us is a second yardstick. So just to give an example, the international way of assessing proficiency is Common European Framework, which is CEFR levels, and there are 6 levels in that. Okay, right from a very beginner to very advanced. There are codes which I won't bore you with, but A1 through C2, and it's from beginner to advanced as an idea. So we see typically somebody who has attended even 70% of the program, they will improve at least 2 levels. Those who have done 50% of the program will attain improvement of about 1 level. Right? So if they are in very lowest level, they go to level 2, level 3, 4, and so on and so forth. Those who do not attend or those who are below 50% probably will stay at the same level or see a half a level improvement. Okay, so so 2 major ways of measuring impact. One, I think, is simple placement. That's the acid test. And 2, improvement in the proficiency level. If someone comes and tell me I'm able to speak to a Britisher now, or an American or somebody else, or I'm watching English movies now because of this, we always feel pretty good about that. And in addition to that, I think it's just not the the jobs, I think the third criteria, if I may add that way, a lot of people go abroad, right? And they have to clear this exam IELTS. So we are training, helping them clear the exam as well. So if somebody is able to go abroad, whether to work or study, because of our training, and that's a test that's taken by British Council, IDP, and third-party agencies. This is not our test, right? So it's an internationally recognized test that they go through. So when an external benchmark tells me, hey, the youth is, or the person is successful, or the learner is successful, that for us is another criteria in terms of measuring impact. So these are three key ways we measure impact. Ultimately, they need to make more money. It's as simple as that. Okay, they need to be better employable. In summary, their career prospects must be much, much better than where they are today. Yeah, so that's how we measure impact. In terms of fostering partnerships, that was the kind of another question you asked. I think the partnerships are usually are like a marriage, okay? And you build trust, right? You build trust over a period of time. So there are partners who have trusted us when we were nothing, right? In fact, I used to beg teachers to join our program and deliver online. Those days in 2009-10, nobody wanted to be an online teacher, right? COVID has probably taught us that online learning is important and how to become an online teacher. But let me tell you, 10 years back, there was no market for this, right? Or 12 years back, there was no market. So I think building trust is one very, very important way we build and nurture partnerships. So that's one. Two, I think surprising the partners and the customers and learners with results, right? On a positive side, not an ugly surprise, but a pleasant surprise, right? And that helps as well. And third, I think is focus on quality, right? The challenge in our market is everybody wants a service, but they don't want to pay, right? They want a discount and cut corners and things like that. You'll go into a class of 30 people and probably don't even see the face of the teacher, but still want to go to the class. I think in our case, we have chosen to keep the class at a very, very small group size. So only 5 to 10 people are in the class, so that we can have meaningful conversations. Now, that tells our customers that we worry about quality, and they, at the end of the day, see a quality service with a great impact. So I think building trust, focus on quality is very, very important. And once you have delivered, and the key is delivery, right? So once you're delivered large scale programs, then I think the partners and customers are bound to come back to you for more. And that's one way we have done. And I would add any marketing gimmicks here in terms of, of course, there are various ways you can reach out, right? CSS Box is one platform, online marketing, digital marketing, LinkedIn, etc. But I feel delivering a service with higher quality helps build you trust that serves as a very, very good foundation for fostering partnerships.
Thank you, sir. I mean, we very often talk about partnerships, but I don't feel like we explain this aspect that you just talked about, the trust element, and trust always takes time, right? It's not something which happens in the blink of an eye. It happens just within seconds. It's something where your service shows and the quality that you provide shows, and that is how you build that trust chain. So, sir, I think within your answer, you also mentioned something super interesting, is that how teachers did not want to teach online before COVID and 10 years ago. And then COVID happened, right? And it changed a lot for not just people in India, but the global community as at large. So I would like to know, sir, how has your organization changed, and how has it overcome the challenges that COVID posed to it?
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, we have been an online organization right from day one. Um, we have a panel of close to 5,000 plus trainers who, by the way, work from home. But let me tell you, working from home was not so easy back in 2009-10. Um, I think in the international setup, people are very used to it. But we, as developing economy, we were learning to work from home, and I think we probably started to learn how to work from home during COVID only. To your specific question on COVID, quite frankly, large part of our workforce was already working from home. So for us, the delivery side was never a challenge during COVID. Okay, in fact, we were reaching out to our teachers and speaking to them during COVID, and they said, "What happened? We've been doing this for a number of years, so there's nothing new, right?" Maybe you become overcautious. So I think for us, delivery side was always online for last 10 years. That did not change. However, on the demand side, I think there were quite a fair bit of restrictions or quite a fair bit of challenges, if I would call it that way. And also the people who were not working in delivery, right? So sales, technology, customer support, etc., who were used to working in the office, who were used to come to the office, I think were a little surprised by the lockdown, and they had to learn new ways of working. But fortunately, we had learned enough with teachers working from home that we could leverage their learnings to the internal staff as well. In fact, we engaged more when we were working from home. So, for example, every Saturday we would get on a virtual call and play tambola as an idea. So I think employee engagement actually went up during COVID timeframe. On the demand side, however, it was a bit of a challenge. A lot of corporates tightened the purse strings, and I think for a period of time we went through a little challenging situation. But I think as the situation was better, I think the corporates got used to the norm, and I think coming back to the business, which is a great sign. So net, I think COVID did not significantly change anything for us, quite frankly. In fact, one or two positives I can say is out of that is that the acceptance of online has exponentially increased during COVID, right? I think people have started to understand. They were staying at home. They're seeing the kids learning online. So they said, if kids can learn online, why can't I learn English as well online? So acceptance of online has increased. I'm also reached by a lot of foundations and CSR organizations and corporates who probably won't pick up my phone earlier or my team's phone earlier because we are an online player. But now, we are welcomed with a decent cup of coffee and a business interaction post since the onset of COVID pandemic. So I think the acceptance has really gone up, and we see a lot of corporate individual customers accepting online much better than they used to be. So online has become a norm. Video platforms have become a norm. Video calls have become a norm. And imagine a banker talking to you on Zoom call and talking about your investment portfolio. So I think the world has changed. Barring few hiccups that happened during COVID where the business came to a standstill, I think rest of it actually for online models like us have worked out well.
Absolutely. I definitely feel like the acceptance of online has increased manyfold. It's not just like 1 2 steps, but across, and it's become so important. So, sir, I'm down to my last question. Very sad that it is my last question, because you actually so wonderfully explain the kind of vision and mission and the work that the organization does, that it's been a pleasure just listening to you speak. What is your vision for the organization in the next 5 years? How do you want to create more and more impact?
So I think the vision is very simple. Journey started in 2009. So far, we have touched 1 million lives. I see next 5 years. We would love to enable at least 10 million people think in English, and we would like to enable them to think in English and enhance their career potential. It's as simple as this. Okay, and I hope we are able to. I'm very confident we will meet this objective. And however, the way we're going to do this in the next 5 years is going to be very different than the way we have done in the last 5 years or last 10 years, if I may call it that way. Reason being, I think technology has reached a point where people are mesmerized by Chat GPT, then Google, then Meta. And so I think the way we're going to learn English or learn any skill for that matter is going to be very different than what we have seen in last 10, 20 years. Ours is probably a generation who did not see a phone and now seeing a smartphone. And I think we'll also see, by the way, AI as well, if I'm still around. So definitely the vision is very simple and very clear. We want to touch 10 million lives with the use of technology and enabling them to think in English and enhance their career potential in the next 5 years. That's a simple objective. As I said, it will be a lot more tech-enabled than what it has been before. And I'm very confident that our team of trainers, more than 5,000 plus, the great tech platform, and of course the support of partner organizations like CSR Box would help us. And of course, needless to say, I must thank my customers, our customers, who would help us get to this point as quickly as possible.
Thank you, sir. I think this was brilliant. It was such an insightful conversation, and I'm really grateful that you took out time to come and have this chat with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was indeed a pleasure being on this talk, and I'm really thrilled with the partnership with CSR Box. Thank you.